everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to share with you how I made a life-size chimney with a Santa sticking out of it from all Dollar Tree materials. And I do have another option for the Santa if you don't want to DIY so much, and both cost just about the same price. So stick around for that. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications before you leave so you never miss out on a new video. All right, let's get started. Now to start off making the chimney, I'm going to use 2 of these project display boards. Now if you have a large box already, then this part could be free for you, but I didn't, so I picked these up at Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is I am going to use some duct tape and duct tape them at the folds, and then I'm going to flip it around and duct tape the other side together so that way I make myself a box. I duct tape the outside and the inside of these just to make sure that it would hold up well, and you just want to make sure when you get it all duct taped that you kind of just fold it in so that way it stands up straight. And then once I got that done, I am going to make the brick pattern on this. I am using the peel and stick wallpaper from Dollar Tree. I used 14 sheets for this, and you could paint your brick pattern on with red paint and white paint, but I decided to use the peel and stick wallpaper instead. So on the back of the peel and stick wallpaper, it has a line where you just fold and then you peel one little strip off to expose the sticky side, and then you can place that down and then you can lift up the other edge and smooth it as you go. It's really easy to apply. It's not super sticky though. That's the only issue I had. I made sure that I really rubbed in the seams where the boards folded to make sure that it stayed down really well. After I did that, it did stick okay, but you have to make sure that you really press down hard to make sure that it sticks. And the pattern lines up really nicely, so I just made sure that I lined up the pattern and matched it all the way along, and then I cut off the excess so that way that would match. When I got to the top, I didn't need a full sheet, but I went ahead and used the full sheet and folded that over onto the inside of my chimney so that way the inside of the chimney kind of looked a little bit decorative. When I was doing the corners of this, I just wrapped it around the corner and then I cut along the downside to the corner, and then I just folded it inward, and that worked perfectly. And you can see I had my little cat helper here. She loved playing in the box, so if you have a cat, just know that they're going to be helping you with this project. Now I wanted to put some snow around my chimney, the top of my chimney, so I got 2 of these snow blankets from Dollar Tree. They're pretty thin, and also they have sparkles on them, which will get everywhere, just so you know. But I folded mine so that way the sparkles were on the inside, and I doubled them up. And then you can see here, I just went with my scissors and I just cut around to make it look like snow. It wasn't perfect, and I just made sure that my edges were rounded as I went. And I did one and then I did another one so that way I could go all the way around the chimney. I didn't measure this out or anything. I just freehanded it, but you could draw it out if you wanted to. And then once I was done, I left it folded over because I wanted it doubled up, like I said, because that fabric is really thin. And then I just draped it over the edge and used a little bit of hot glue along those edges to secure it down. And I just went all the way around. Like I said, 2 of these worked out perfectly to go all the way around the top of the chimney to make it look like snow. All right, that is all there is to it to this DIY chimney. So if you wanted to quit DIYing right here, you could, and you could go to Five Below and pick up one of these 3-foot inflatable Santas that are battery operated for only $10. And you could put a laundry basket from Dollar Tree inside the chimney upside down, and then inflate your Santa on top of that laundry basket sticking out of your chimney, and you have a cute little waving Santa. inside a chimney. I think this is adorable, and it would only cost you $35 to make this whole setup, and you wouldn't have to do that much DIYing. But if you want to continue DIYing or you can't find this Santa Claus, then you can continue by getting yourself a piece of cardboard. You can use a scrap piece of cardboard or a piece of black foam board and cut it out to the size of the chimney. I just traced my chimney on to the top of the box, and I'm just using scissors to cut this out. And then once I cut this out, I'm gonna spray paint mine black because it's not already black, but you know, if you had a piece of foam board that was already black, you wouldn't have to spray paint it. So then once that is all spray painted and cut out, I'm just gonna go ahead and place it snugly inside the top of my chimney, leaving about 3 or 4 inches from the top. And then I hot glued it down into the chimney from the bottom with some hot glue. I just went around the edges and made sure that it was hot glued and it was sturdy and held nicely once that was done. Now for the legs of Santa that's going to be sticking up out of this chimney, I am going to use a pool noodle from Dollar Tree. I am gonna just fold that over and cut it in half as best as I can to make sure that they're about the same height. And then I took another pool noodle and I cut about 18 inches off of that pool noodle. And then I'm going to take that pool noodle and cut that completely in half. And those are gonna be my 2 pieces that are technically gonna be the feet, or the start of the feet for my Santa. So I just hot glued the bottom of that pool noodle to the bottom of the other pool noodle, and then I rolled that piece up there to make it look like a foot. And I used some skewers to kind of hold it in place for me, and I used a little bit of hot glue, but that will not hold it completely. So you'll see here in a minute, I'm gonna be using duct tape to hold the whole foot together. I did cut another about 18 inches off of that pool noodle, and I wrapped it around the whole thing so you couldn't see that little spiral on the side there. So it technically looked like a foot. And again, I used some skewers to kind of hold it in place and help me, just so that that way I could wrap this whole thing with the duct tape. And the duct tape really secured that foot together so that that way it wouldn't fall apart. I did the same thing to the other pool noodle to make another foot, and it goes a little bit quicker here because I knew what I was doing. Sometimes I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing and it doesn't always go the quickest the first time, but the second time I know what I'm doing. So I did the other foot, and now I have 2 legs and 2 feet. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cover that duct tape with some of this black felt that came from Dollar Tree. It's just a roll of black felt, and I used a white piece of chalk to trace the bottom of my foot. And I kind of did this in pieces because I wasn't sure how to cover it. So I did the bottom of the foot, and then I hot glued that piece of felt to the bottom there. And then I cut a strip to go around the edge of the foot and hot glued that down, and then around the back hot glued it together. And then for the top, I just took some of the excess fabric that was left over, and then I just placed it on the top of the foot and kind of wrapped it around the leg a little bit and hot glued it in the back. And then I cut around the top of the foot at like an oval so that that way it would be kind of nice and even. And then I hot glued that down to the top of the foot. As I was covering these feet, I was thinking to myself, I know there's an easier way to cover these, but I couldn't figure it out in my head. But now that I'm watching this back and doing these voiceovers, I realized you can definitely just put the foot on top of the piece of felt and gather it up around the leg and tie it off, because you're not going to see that leg in the long run with what I do. but either way works. It's just that other way would be a lot simpler than the way I did it. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue my legs, the bottom of my legs, to that bottom piece there that I glued inside the chimney. I am using Gorilla Glue at a very high heat, and I'm just going to hold it there until that Gorilla Glue dries so that way they stay in place and don't fall over. Now I'm going to take a piece of red poster board and I'm going to fold it in half short ways and cut that in half, and then cut about 3 inches off the top because it's just a little bit too long. And I'm going to take that poster board and I'm going to wrap my legs, my pool noodles, with the poster board just to make them a little bit thicker. I'm not completely wrapping them tight against the pool noodles. I'm leaving a little bit of room so that way it is a little bit thicker, and that way it'll hold the pool noodles up a little bit better. I'm hot gluing that poster board at the bottom to that bottom board, and for some reason this just makes everything a little bit more sturdy and stable when you glue that poster board down there. So that's what I did, and because it's red I don't have to paint it. And then next I took these duster packs from Dollar Tree, and 2 of the dusters come in each pack. So what I did was I took the dusters and I pulled them apart. When you pull them apart, you want to be very gentle so that way they don't break. If they do break, it's not, it's not too bad because you can kind of piece them together, but you want to try to get whole pieces out of them. And then I hot glued those around the bottoms of the legs so that way it looked like Santa's fur. And then I'm going to take another poster board and I'm going to fold it in half long ways, which is opposite of what I did with the legs. And then I'm just going to cut that in half, and then I'm going to place a piece on one side of the legs in a circular pattern and then on the other side, and then I hot glued those sides together to meet so that way it looks like Santa's coat is coming out of the chimney. And then I took the rest of the dusters that I had, pulled those apart, and hot glued those all around the bottom of the coat. I used 4 packs of these dusters, so I used 8 dusters all together. And that is it for this DIY Santa getting stuck in the chimney. I think he turned out equally as adorable as the last one. For this Santa and this chimney, it cost around $36.58. So it was about $1.58 more than the other one, but it's all on how much you want to DIY and what supplies you can find. I'll leave a list of those supplies down below in the description box for you guys if you are interested. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a Santa emoji down below in the comments and let me know which Santa you liked sticking out of the chimney more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.